All right, guys, we're going to go through the basic triangle choke from the guard, from closed guard. So this is a choke with the legs that kind of forms a triangle between the crook of your knee and his shoulder, pushing his shoulder into one side of his neck, the back of the knee and the other side of the neck, pulling down the head, cutting the blood off. Right? It's great. It's kind of one of the iconic jiu-jitsu techniques. So let's look at the mechanics of this first, because this is important, and then we'll look at the basic setup. There's a million setups. People specialize in this technique. So we're going to work on the mechanics of the basic thing. So what I'm looking to do, let's assume that he doesn't really know that much jiu-jitsu. Right now he has both arms in, right? Because my legs are around him. If he were to put one arm under my leg, let's say to try to throw my leg over past the guard or something, so now he has one arm in, one arm out. Right? That's not good for him. So that's what our feed is going to be. Right? So he goes underneath, try to pry my leg loose. Like, I'm going to immediately clamp down over his shoulder. Right? And I want to try to get away from him just a little bit to try to make him heavy. Now, so we're here in this first position, this is what we call a pit stop position. So this is a great reference position. So I immediately want to control his posture by pulling his chin to his chest. Right? If his chin's on his chest, he has a hard time stacking me and pulling out. If I don't do this and he sits up really tall, there's a good chance I'm going to lose this. Right? So you go to here first. Step one, break the posture. Now I'm going to need to make a turn. So I'm going to grab my shin with this far hand. Okay, grab the shin, then release the leg. If I do it, if I just try to make the adjustment, there's a big gap. He just pulls out. I have to do this. So here, pit stop, grab, foot goes on the hip, or sometimes on the floor. I don't know, depending on where your opponent is. I've got my foot on the hip right now, and I'm going to scoot, and I'm going to pull my shin this way and down. What I'm trying to do is to take out all the slack here. I don't want any distance between the back of my knee and the side of his neck. Right? So as I do this, I'm pulling in and down. If I don't pull, what ends up happening as I turn is my leg drifts this way, and I lose it. Right? So keep this nice and clamped, right? I make my turn, now I get my foot on the floor. I'm scooting away from him, pulling him off his base. Leg goes over, toes are pointed up. I'm going to pull down his chest, squeeze my knees together, and kind of rotate my hips to the outside here. All right, so let's look at the arm position. So notice that when I'm doing this, his arm position is across his body. So I want that, right? Because that pushes his shoulder into his neck. If his arm is a little more over here when I'm doing this, I might lift my hips and pull it down, right? Now I'll make my adjustment. Okay, so there's a lot of steps in this, and I've been talking through them, so I'm going to walk through them one at a time. Okay. Right? He goes one in, one out, or maybe I force this later on. So he puts the arm in, clamp down, break the posture, grab my foot, make the turn, reclamp. If I need to adjust his arm, I will. Pull this in tight, hand on the head, knees together, hips up, and then I'm going to rotate my hips this way to finish. And it's a basic triangle choke.